going on?
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's good? What's good? What's good, Jo-Lynn?
How was your week? Oh my goodness. I haven't heard from you
Hey,
in a
it's
minute.
been good. It's been good, man. Trying to do a little music, here and there. You know, just trying to stay alive, trying to stay blessed. You know, how you
Yep.
been doing?
Well, between working and trying to get ready for this show and my writing, I write for a magazine also, and so I was doing my just reading of my next episode. My next article is called Sound Off, and it's at an ND Incognito magazine, and this will be my second article coming out in October. So that's
Oh, okay,
exciting. So I
that's what's
have,
up. Get to
yeah,
that
I'm in my
bread. Get to that bag.
yeah, I'm in my lane of writing and being expressive through writing and thought of self
Okay,
care and love and all that good stuff.
okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I've just been chilling. Just trying to do a little music. Trying to stay abreast. you know, Trying to learn all this equipment that I'm working with, trying to get this podcast going.
Uh-huh.
So, I just was thinking about, some a situation happened, it was just in the news. When was it? A few days ago, probably the beginning of this week. And
Uh-huh.
what happened was a little boy, named Legacy out of the Boogie Down Bronx. You go, he got killed, 1 years old, and his name was Legacy, and it's a sad story because I felt the need to come up on this topic, and I named it "Are we protecting our children by our choices when we become involved in a relationship with he or she?" And the reason why I came up with that title was because you know this little boy was only 1 years old, and this demonic boyfriend supposed to have been of the girl. He was only 1 years old, and he got snubbed out of his life. And with a name, she named him Legacy. So when I think about that legacy, you think of something positive, right? So my thing is, you named him Legacy. You carried this baby boy. He was a boy. You carried him for 9 months, and to lose him, only having him a year. You brought this man in your house. That means you had to get out of that relationship. The baby was only a year, so that means your baby daddy, whatever the situation was, y'all had, what I'm saying, he got basically, what I'm saying, robbed of his life. So I'm disgusted, definitely with him, but I'm disgusted also with the woman because you allowed, and I'm a man, and I wouldn't even want to deal with a woman like that. But so many dudes, he wasn't working, you know, 23, 24 years old, you know, no job. It ain't even his kid, so he don't care nothing about the kid. Cause if he did, he wouldn't have broke his ribs, and he sodomized them. He sodomized them with a toothbrush. You know how could you put a toothbrush up the rectum of a little boy? Like, you had to be on demon time so bad. That's pathetic. And
My
so that's
heart
why I named
is
it, that title, because I wanted you to elaborate on it.
speechless. my heart, my heart for a baby who did not, was not giving a chance, a year, and my heart is, it's so hard to hear these stories from wherever community you come from, and it's hard to hear. It's just, even though I'm a social worker and a therapist and all of that, I'm a human being, and my heart, I cry almost every day when I hear these stories, because it happens more time than we even know about, and it's sad. It's really sad. I really believe that when we have newborns, when we have babies, where is the care, compassion, and love and time to really know your baby? Where's
Yeah,
that relationship? Where's that time? Where's that nutrient? Where's that protection? Where is it? Where is the rush to get into a new relationship? Why is there a big rush? Where are you going? Where the baby is right there. So that means you had to go out and leave the baby behind to go hang out, to meet someone, to meet someone. I'm, you know, we have children, we have babies, newborns who are reliant on mommy and daddy, the family, the community to protect.
yeah.
And just because we have babies doesn't mean that we know everything. It
True
doesn't mean
indeed.
that.
True indeed. It's a learning experience. It ain't like you giving a manual. So you live through trial and error. I'm pretty much sure a lot of parents regret certain mistakes. Certain decisions that they made. Maybe through you know choices they had to make, or poor choices, and some
Hmm.
people make positive choices, some people make negative choices, some people make choices that might be negative, but out of a place of desperation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you
I
know,
remember that. It just keeps reminding me when when I had my daughter, and I wanted to go to City Island, and I was getting ready to go, and my daughter wasn't even 6 months old, and my mother said, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going to City Island." I said, "Okay." She said, "Okay, who are you forgetting?" And I said, "Oh, I thought you was gonna be able to take care of the baby." My mother wasn't having it. She said, "Wherever you go, the baby goes."
yeah, I
So
hear that.
yeah, so just because you have a baby doesn't mean you know everything. If you do not listen, this thing right now, what just happened, it happens because nobody
Yeah,
want to take the time to listen.
yeah, and now she gonna have a legacy, a negative legacy. I don't care even if she have another kid. She got to deal with that legacy that's going to be stained on her steps for
That
the
is a
rest of her
deep,
life.
that is a deep sentimental word, and it has a meaning
Yes.
of future, past, present.
Mm.
So every time, that's just one other story that we will remember as such. And it's unfortunate, and it's unnecessary, and it's hurtful. It's really hurtful. It's painful. And
I say the
if
word is
anybody walks away from the
despicable.
story without feeling something, you're just hard up. You're just hard up.
I mean, true indeed, because when I heard the story, man, I was appalled. I mean, it's the most lowest creature on the farm, and he wasn't nobody by no form a man, you know what I'm saying? And my thing is, I wish no bad on people, but this type of situation, because a baby's innocent. He was only one
Yes.
years old. His and what was crazy was what he told the police. His thing with the baby was making too much noise.
That
He just
means
wouldn't stop. That's how he said it. He just wouldn't stop.
So the
It's
care
crazy.
for the baby was not the number one. The care for the baby. That means the baby
Nah, it wasn't.
was not taken care of because you just letting the baby just cry, cry, cry. Where is the nutrients and the protection? Who was supposed to
But
take care
see,
of the
you gotta
baby?
look at it. It wasn't his baby, so he didn't really care
He
anyway.
no, not at
And
all.
and it goes back to my question, like, with the topic, that I chose for episode 2. Are we really protecting our children when we become involved in these relationships with a man or a woman? Do you really know the woman? Do you really know the man? Because
Mhm.
obviously, let's look at it. The baby is a year old, 1 year old. That means she carried that baby for 9 months, gave birth, had the baby, which was in the months of supposed to be nurturing that baby. You know, you know,
Building that relationship, spending time with that baby, knowing your baby, knowing the
cleaning that dump,
personality of your
cleaning that
baby.
doodle, cleaning that shit,
You know,
getting up them late nights. And let me tell you something. I don't have no kids. I supposed to have some kids, no lie. Girls that have abortions and whatever, I was running the streets but I still know because I raised other people kids. Like my ex, she had 2 kids and I raised them and they respect me. They grown with their kids and they respect me to this day, even though me and their moms ain't together. So my thing is like you gotta you gotta cherish kids. You gotta show them the ways of life so they don't make the mistakes that you made.
hmm
And if even if the kid ain't yours, once you build that bond, it's just like yours. You just didn't bring it in the world, but you
but you
did more than the person that. And that's my whole point. A lot of women bringing these type men or women in a household, not even knowing, because you're going to tell me you didn't see the warning signs that there was something wrong with this person. He didn't really care about your kid. All she was, the way I look at it, and let's be frank, man, all she was caring about was a piece of dick.
and
You know
even
what
before
I'm saying?
and even before that, you would
Pardon
know
my
the
French, but
signs.
it is what it is.
Yeah, you would know the signs if you knew yourself. If you spend time knowing yourself and loving yourself and respecting yourself, you would know the signs quicker than quick because you're not going to take that chance with just anybody about around your baby. So it goes back to your own selfness of how you feel about yourself. Because then if you're just not knowing, you're not going to be so much aware of your safety capacity, your safety, you know. I just it's just hurtful with the baby. Always children, babies, newborn suffer because adults do not know how to maintain their selves or safety. So if they can't do it for themselves, their children's going to suffer.
Yeah,
And so, the children are not here to be scapegoats or to be in between arguments. They are not there. They see, they feel, they do not forget. Right. And
yeah,
so, even if they can't even put words in their mouth, their body system will feel that they'll become anxious, nervous, crying all the time, unsettled. So if you don't know how your baby is, the difference between happy when the baby is stressed out, if you don't
yeah,
know how
yeah.
your baby mood is, there's a problem. There is a
That's
problem. You need
true. That's
you
definitely true.
every baby has a personality like adults. We all
Yeah.
have adults and feelings. The baby cry for needs to meet their needs. Right? And so the same kind of thing. If you do not take the time to know your baby, you will miss the baby way of communicating with you. And it's
See,
there.
he was, he was,
You just have to find the time to realize your baby is communicating with you. This is ooh.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
crazy because, like I said, man, I say, and I'm for me being a man, and to speak to women out there, because she had to be young, and he was young. He was 23, 24, so she had to be young, but you supposed to be able to. You just got out of a relation. Whether you had a bad situation with the baby daddy, you should have took the time to just get to know yourself, know this baby, before you opened up your door to another relationship after you just got out of a whether maybe the baby daddy ran out on his what he's supposed to do, be a man. Maybe he ran out his responsibilities, but that still should make you more than reason to say, look, I'm gonna take time out and get myself in order. Build my self esteem, because obviously she has low self esteem.
I don't know
Like
what it
she had to
is.
have low self esteem.
It could be that. It couldn't be just not wanting to be alone. It can be just anything that person is thinking about. But the impact always falls on the children.
Right.
Always.
But don't you think it's
Always.
still low self esteem, even if she didn't want to be alone?
It could
Didn't
be
you
that.
think? But then I look at it, it had to be broken, you know, and it might go back. Who knows? What triggered it? Could
It,
be of not having a father in her life. Who knows? I don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
But
It
what
could
I
be.
do know is that she should have took a time out and got herself and her life together.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know.
You cannot, you know, you cannot have, unless you don't have an attachment of yourself and feel of self, of your idea of who you are, self discovery. We're young. I didn't have my daughter. I had my daughter when I was like 21. You think I knew?
Mhm.
You think I knew? I'm so happy I had my mother. Even if you don't have your mother, there is someone in the family or in the community that cares enough that you can go to. I hear a
Mhm.
lot of stories that teachers are stepping up and they babysitting. They're to bring the baby. We'll take care of the baby while you in class.
Oh,
You
really?
know, there is support. If you are looking for support, there is
Mhm.
support.
Well, that's a good thing. I think maybe a lot, because it takes a village. Like that,
Yes.
what's that saying? It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And what happened is we have lost the village. And that's
Yeah.
that's 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 that
Yep.
that comes with choices. We all gotta make them choices to change and stop thinking about ourselves and think about others. And maybe there were signs that people, because obviously she lived in Webster Projects. It's a big project. People see people, but people don't know people. People being in their own world.
Hmm.
And from what I read about the guy, he was a woman beater. He beat on he had a case for beating on a woman, choking her out. They said till she fell unconscious. So there was warning signs, and
If you
she.
if you don't ask the questions, if you don't take the time to figure it out and just have an awareness, come on, you have to see what you see. You have to see what you see and ask those questions. If you're not asking no questions, oh, he's cute, he's cute. No, that's not a question.
But my thing is this. So what I'm gonna ask you the question. So what as a community was supposed to happen to prevent legacy from having from being, basically what I'm saying is what could the community have done in order to prevent this baby named Legacy from losing his life?
Asking questions, asking for help, asking the community. We lived on
When
Webster
you say
Avenue.
asking for help,
We
what do
we
you mean by
okay.
asking for help?
So I nursed my daughter, and I had a lot of extra milk. The milk, from the wick. And so there
Uh-huh.
was, on the same floor, there was this lady who was raising her grandchildren. And through conversation, she noticed that I never had a bottle because I nursed. I mostly
Right.
nursed. I nursed on the bus, I nursed on the train, I nursed. Right. And we had a conversation. So I used to give her all the milk.
Hmm.
There is support. I really believe if you much aware and ask questions and using the being aware of our elders, you know, I 99% of the time there is someone, an elder, an older person who is providing support, and one out of two, they probably not listening. Um the younger generation are not listening. They are losing that tie to the older generation. Even
Well, don't you
doctors.
think I uh, I'm in the older generation now, as I done got to the 50s. But don't you think that there's a communication breakdown between
There's a gap.
the younger generation and the older generation? Because what I've noticed, and why I take a fallback, and I'm trying to change that narrative, but I know for a fact, and I'm pretty much sure a lot of people that have been through situations, feel like they want to help this younger generation, but the younger generation got this 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 attitude like, oh, they're old head, they don't know what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? He don't know what he out of touch. He don't know what's going on. You know, and so don't sometimes that don't you think that makes a person feel like, well, why should I put myself you know even out there to try to even help, or try to
Hmm.
help prevent them from making poor choices that get them in a situation that they're gonna regret, and they're gonna wish they could turn back the hands of times.
Hmm. Yeah, it's when we were growing up, we had the elders, and in a teenager, I was not listening to my mother. There were times when I just stomped out as I didn't listen. We had arguments, and we had, you know, I
Mhm.
was not the nicest of of my mother's children. I was not the nicest. I was the worst of the worst. But at the end of the
Mm.
day, who needed who? At the end of the day, who needed who? I needed my mother. I needed to go back.
Yeah, we all do. I
We
know
all
I
do.
done made some poor
So,
choices.
we are hard headed. We are hard headed.
Yeah,
We
no
have
doubt.
experience being hard headed. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a time when those questions for help is going to be asked. They're going to start asking for help, and then they're going to. It's hard because it didn't have to be that way. We're so hard headed. It doesn't have to be until we get into trouble or become pregnant, right? Or some kind of trouble that we in that we have to come back for help. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
And we all have, right? We all been there, but we all been
yeah,
there. We all been there. And so I
yeah.
think that if young adults, young teenagers, whoever have someone in their life, give them time to learn, to listen, and to learn from, be observant, and just accept the support, accept the positivity. There's no
Hmm.
competition. There's no competition. There's
Right.
love that needs to be heard and felt. And if we just
Hmm.
stomp all over it with disrespect and thinking we know everything, I bet you by the end of the day, at that moment, you're gonna be like, I need help, and you're gonna start asking for help. And it might be too late.
Yeah, you're right. Because unfortunately, this guy his days is limited. You know, he will never,
He will never forget, and she will never forget, and the community will
and he
never
should never
forget. And
see the streets again.
that is
You know,
that's heartbreaking. It's really
yeah, he should never
heartbreaking.
see the streets again, man. You know, because I really don't. Let me get some water. I really don't have no respect nor no remorse for anything that happened to him. You know, and that's being real because kids are innocent. They come into this world. They only taught and learn what we teach them, whether it's negative or positive. You know,
Yeah, they
if
mimic
they're in a
everything we do.
negative environment, if they're in a negative environment, 9 times 10, they're gonna have negative attitude towards life. If they're in a positive, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be have a positive attitude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they come in this world innocent. So for him to do the things he did to a 1 year old,
Yep. That's
you know. So I had to just talk about this topic because I wanted to elaborate more on women and men that open up their doors to these relationships and just get a conversation going to just say, do you really know who you bringing in your house? Are you taking the time out to you know find out, investigate who you
ask
opening up your doors,
questions.
because you're bringing these kids in? Because look, that's just one case, but you have this is why all these cases are coming out. People have done got molested. They done the parent ain't know what was going on, and in some cases the parent knew and still didn't do nothing. you know and this is an
Unfortunately,
ongoing thing. This is what's happening even up to these days, and it affect, because I had a cousin that she just now recently telling that she got molested when she was down south. Some of my family, my aunt husband is just coming out, you know
mm-hmm.
she held this, and she's in my mom's age bracket,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just coming out about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, you know, it's real, man, and that's why I said this episode 2 need to be about, because it's choices.
It's the choices
Choices that
and
Yeah, it's the choices that we make.
yep. Yep. And there's no greater love than the child's love. There is no greater love for a child.
Hmm.
Once you love a child, that is forever. Some people
Hmm.
take time, that they need extra time to nurture and build that bond with that child. But give yourself that time to bond with that child. Give
Hmm.
yourself that bond. Because then it's going to, later on, you still can, okay, so later on, the baby
Hmm.
becomes 1 or 2, everything is cool and thing, and then later on, when that child becomes a teenager, that child could make choices based on you, who raised them, and their community to support. And so it's a generational impact. I have been molested. I have years I had to live with that. And then,
Hmm.
but this is years ago, and I told everyone because I did
Hmm.
not want it to happen again. I did
Wow.
not I did not want it. I was the voice. I was the pen that burst everything because I did not want the my generation next after that to be affected. No, No, it
Wow.
took me a long
And
time
that's
to open my
real. That's
mouth.
real. That's real to speak on it, because you speaking on it can impact and help somebody else that's either it happened to or they're going through it. And
Yeah.
this is the thing that's why we as a community have to start, because this is a that molestation is something that was in the black community upon. It was a hush behind. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, a lot of religions, a lot of um churches, as you see the Catholics, and it's all coming out, and Baptists, and you know, even as cases with the Jehovah Witness. I mean, there's a lot with religion that is coming out, and a lot of religions have been hushed, quiet
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And in the black community, parents and family members been quiet about it. And these are real life situations that's impacting real life people. That's making this is why I say it's not by far that a lot, some kids grow up with attitudes and chips on their shoulders, and violently, you know, because of things happening to them, whether
To them.
little
To
boys and
them.
little girls,
Mm-hmm.
you
And then the
know.
system is not supportive of their recovery, of their care,
Uh,
right? And so they have to end up in the system, right?
uh,
Because their system is not is they don't know how to provide without punitive. They want
uh,
to punish. They want to, that the pipeline from school to the jail, that's real. And it's set up
yeah,
like that
yeah, yeah.
because there's not enough support, there's not enough compassion, there's not
uh.
enough
It's about a
conversation.
dollar. It's
It's
about a
all
dollar.
about the money. It's all
Yeah,
about the money, and we have to
yeah,
stop that pipeline because that
yeah.
pipeline has a greater reason for it. And the only reason why it's up there because to prevent us from becoming successful. That's what it comes
True,
down to. That's to
true,
me, that's my idea of it.
true. Yeah,
So
true.
if we
Because I
go,
mean, yeah.
huh?
Nah, I was saying that you're right. They're quick to lock you up, but they don't want to have the programs to help, stop these situations, because sometimes people become like that because they didn't got molested or something. They manhood, their childhood been taken. And so they only know how to act out in a violent way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And this
You
is
know,
emotional. This whole conversation is emotional because it's not happening over there. It's happening where we can see because we hear it. And we
right.
have to see, we have to believe what we see. We have to feel what we feel. And it's disgusting to have our children lose their lives because adults
Mm-hmm.
cannot get it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
hurtful. It's very hurtful.
Yeah.
And
It could
and the
kill the
system as a
innocent.
whole is not there to invite you in. It's not
It's to
meant for
tear
that.
you apart. It's
It's
to
not
keep
meant
tearing
for
you
that.
apart. Yeah. To keep tearing you
And
apart.
so we have to step back and we have to be the community that we need to be. And
Mm-hmm.
it has to involve compassion, slowing down. There's no reason to sit there and get into fights, arguments. There is no reason because
Mm-hmm.
all is happening is that the children sees everything and they remember everything. You might not know, and the baby doesn't have to have the words to feel, but they feel it and they see it and they feel it.
Yeah. It's so sad because this little boy, and,
Oh
and
my
it's crazy.
goodness.
She named him Legacy. That's a deep name. Like it's just so sad because Legacy. would never become maybe as strong as legacy he could leave the black community was snuffed up out of his life. It's crazy. But yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on that. It was a
Yeah.
definitely a good episode.
Yeah.
I just, so in closing, like, what choices can our community make in order to prevent another legacy from being losing or having his life taken? He or she, not because this in this case it was a boy, but we don't want to see a legacy of female happen something like this happening to the. So how do we? Well, what should we do in order to change this narrative
Yeah.
that's affecting our communities?
I think we need to build the connection between the older generation, the
Mm.
young to realize that the young um, that they don't know everything, and
Well,
there's a that
that's a good point that you bring up because how how tell me how do we change that?
opening up conversation of, I don't know, when I was growing up, I listened, and the music, it goes with the music, positive music.
Mm.
I
But see, now
to,
you
to
go into the music. This
it's
is what the they're pushing. They're pushing that negative narrative, that negative music. How do you change them from playing that negative music and getting caught up in that negative music? Because let me tell you something. It was a discussion I seen on Facebook. This is like this week. I was scrolling through, and there were some DJs, and it was so crazy because it was a DJ, and you probably could look it up. It was Fat Man School. They were he was on the panel, and it was another DJ. It was a female DJ came on, and she said because he asked the other guy, the other DJ asked Fat Man School, "Do you play?" And he was quoting some music. It was negative music, and then he said, "Do you play J Cole?" And he said a song, and he said Kendrick Lamar a song. They are more on a positive, with their music. And he said, "Nah, I don't play it." And he was like, "Well, why you don't play it?" You know what I'm saying? Because there's people that Well, I'm gonna say the female said this, but he asked Fat Man Scoop. Miss Captain Scoop said, Fat Man Scoop said, "Oh, I don't play it." Basically, what it come down to was he said that basically, if he play that type of music, they leave the floor, right? And so the female DJ came in and she said she had played some J. Cole and she had played some Kendrick Lamar, and she said there was men that came in that said, "Oh, I'm so happy you play this music, da 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 da," right? But she said the females walked off the floor, right? She
okay.
said the females like the disrespectful lyrics that they say and stuff. She said that the females, and she said this the sad part about it. She said the females say, "Oh, you don't want to be disrespected and you don't want to be called this and that." But when a Cardi B song come on or some, or Megan Thee Stallion song come on, females know all the lyrics to the song. So what that say? So then she said, and she was saying that she said females get mad when she say, but how could we get respect if you gonna know and be dancing and twerking to these Cardi B when they disrespecting they self? How could you expect a man to want to respect you when you don't have no respect for yourself? You know every part of the lyrics. The man don't be knowing the lyrics. He only going half the time. The man is only going involved with because he see, oh, this the woman. She's shaking and baking. I'm gonna get behind her and shake and bake on her too with this music. She liking this music. So
Hmm.
how you gonna change that?
Oh my goodness. It's oh my goodness.
I just
Um
hit you with something, but
yeah,
it's
you
true.
did because
It's true.
it's just it hits me. It hits me because every it hits me so hard because if you're not asking the questions for better for yourself, if you're not giving yourself the options to figure it out and you're just chasing and you're hearing something and you just agree with it without even asking the questions of what does that have to do with me? Is that building me up? Is that creating something that I even shouldn't be involved in? Am I taking it too far?
But
You
you
know,
you look
these,
you
huh?
you look online. Yo, everywhere I see Instagram, Facebook, a woman will jump up there and twerk all day.
I don't even know how to work. I don't know where that came from. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
you might not know, but
I
the
just,
younger generation, oh, they love that twerking. I mean, I've seen women my age, man, jump up there and twerk, man.
the greatest love that you can have is respect. That's the only thing I can say. The
But
greatest
how do you
love,
get
uh,
respect if
the,
if if if
everyone
a man don't respect you because you ain't looking like you respected yourself?
everyone has to figure it out for themselves, really, so they can have accountability for it. I don't know how. I know for myself, I had to learn the hard way. And unfortunately, we are hard headed. I know I am when I was young. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be. Everyone has to figure it out for themselves. And when they figure it out, say, you know what, that's not even for me. Bing, their mind starts rolling about self-love and respect and compassion and how they want to represent themselves. It takes a process. It takes a process. Everybody doesn't have to be a follower of that. Everybody doesn't have to be a follower of everything they see, but you have to
But
make up
it's
your
happening.
mind. How,
I
I
mean,
know it's
I
happening,
understand what you're saying,
but sooner and later, an individual will have to come up and have that conversation of self-discovery on their own, in their own private time. But they cannot have that private time if they're chasing,
but how
and
you gonna change it?
following.
How you
You
gonna
can't be
change it?
you can't be a follower of everything. That's what I'm saying.
But
You
it's
cannot be.
happening.
I don't. It's happening, but I can only share my idea that everybody cannot follow. Everybody's going to have to individually have that moment where they be like, and start making those choices. And once they figure that out, then they'll have the courage to really ask those wonderful questions. Who am I? Who am I? Where do I want to go? How do I feel? Where's your emotion? But they're not going to figure it out while they're chasing.
Yeah, I hear that. But
When they get tired of
I think
chasing,
it's
when they
how you
get tired of
change it, how you
chasing,
change it, man.
when they
It's
get tired of chasing, it may be too late. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just people have to step back and chill. You remember that? Chill. Just chill.
yeah. Chill to the next episode.
Chill until the next time. Chill. Just chill.
Oh man. Well, I mean, solutions. We got to come up with
Solutions.
solutions.
That's my
And
solution.
what we have to do is we have to. That's why that's one of the reasons why I started a radio station, Foreplay Radio, um, because the reason why I did it was for the simple fact that I wanted to bring awareness. I wanted to bring, like, be able to play my own music. And when I did it is because I didn't want to be playing everything that everybody else played. Plus, giving it the fact that give artists an opportunity to promote their music. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to have artists be able to positive artists be able to bring music, and this is something that I'm also promoting artists. If you out there and you got positive music, you know you trying to uplift your community, you know email me, um caviar foreplay the number 4 play at gmail, and send me the music and I'll be sure to play it, because we need more of this type of music, you know what I'm saying, to bring awareness, to show that we could change the narrative of the music that's being played. I know there's positive music. I've done heard it out there. We got to change that, and that's one of the things that I want to try to. A lot of the radio stations out here, if you hear me right now, start trying to play some positive music, man, uplift instead of breakdown. Because what we're doing in our communities, that negative music, I know, because I know when I hear certain records, it put me in a certain situation. It put me in a well, I want to get on it. You know what I'm saying? Or music has an influence on a lot of the choices that
Yes.
women, men, boys, and girls make. It has an impact. And if we don't start changing these little things, we're going to raise, and I'm calling them generations, these new generations, the lost souls. We're going to
Yeah.
have a bunch of lost souls running around out here, and we're going to have keep on hearing of situations where, like, little 1 year old legacy losing his life. I don't want to hear it no more. But if we don't change the narrative, the outcome is going to be ugly. And it's going to stay ugly. It's going to keep being ugly. It's going to get uglier and uglier until God just say, "Hey, I had enough," and it's over.
Yep. Yep.
So it was
Yep.
good talking about this episode,
Yep.
and I just want to bring awareness, and to everybody out there,
Yep.
I'm gonna look camera in the eye. We got to change this narrative, because if we don't change this narrative, we're gonna have a lot of these poor bums, whether they women or whether, because I've heard situations with women doing these things as well, and men, which I don't call them men. I don't even call them no type of man. Use a savage. We're going to keep hearing these situations. They have a GoFund for legacy. You know, you could check it out, look it up. I mean, it's been floating around because I'm pretty much sure they don't have enough money to bury legacy, and the least we could do is help legacy. Transition out of this world. But it was sad the way he had to Oh
It's
man, I
it's
don't even want to talk about it.
it's hard. But I
I
know,
mean,
these topics are
it's
hard to
crazy.
share, but I'm glad that we can get together and show love and
Yeah,
compassion and really share our concern. and
Yeah.
it's as the episodes continue, we will just
Hmm.
provide that support,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's
No doubt.
and provide new ideas, and let people know that we are tired of hearing these sad stories of our children losing
Yeah.
their lives because of decisions that are being made, and it doesn't have to be that way. So if we give ourselves the idea of safety and love, that it is possible, it won't happen. It will not happen.
Yeah. Well, it was good, Jo-Lynn.
Yeah.
Second episode. We two in.
Yeah.
Just trying to bring a little awareness. I'm gonna be DJing. I'm doing some live stream DJing for the radio station. I'm gonna try to get really in the mood and flow of things. So I'm gonna be live stream. But this was a good one. I appreciate your co-hosting.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, check out Jo-Lynn books. She got it going on.
Yeah.
Um, I know I got to start putting the information because I just learning everything and doing this. It's a whole new horizon. So
Y-
I ain't gonna say I'm the
Yeah.
best. The best I learned by trial and error, and that's how I'm learning. To get better at
Yeah.
doing these podcasts and stuff like that.
And you know
But
what? We got together because our parents kept on community, right? Our community brought us together after all these
mm,
years. And
yeah,
so as you and I met up again, our conversation was similar, and we wanted to share our concerns. That's why we are here, because
hmm
of our shared concern. So that's why that you came up with this idea, and I love. Thank you
yeah.
for asking me to be a part of
Yeah,
it. I
no doubt.
appreciate
Because
you.
I was
Thank
looking
you.
for a co-host. I was, and
Thank you. Thank
there
you.
was somebody else that I was, supposed to. But some people be thinking because you don't do something at that specific time that you are fronting. You are not living. You playing games. And my thing is, I'm the type that I don't play games, but if I'm learning something, I gotta learn. I'm not only just trying to produce a show, but I'm also the the producer, the technical person. I got to try to make sure that the audio was good. See how you sound good this week. You know what I'm saying?
But last
You
week that
sound
was
real
just.
better this week. I
But
mean,
that last week, that was when I think that was the second time I saw your face. So everything was
yeah,
like, it's like,
yeah. And that's what
it's
I was saying. My mother was like, man, no," and people like, I can't see you, and I hope y'all see me this week. I'm trying to, as I say, I got the cameras. I
yeah.
try to, make the, work. I'm trying to get better as I go.
We just we just here with
It's
love.
all trial and error. I mean,
We're just here with love. We're just here with
yeah,
love. We're here. We're here.
I'm just bringing it. I'm just bringing it. It'll get better as time go, and I'll be looking back at this a year later and be
Yeah.
like, oh wow, I remember when that was. Oh wow. So I mean, it's all good. It's all love. I'm glad that we connected. I'm glad
Yeah.
that we're doing this content, and like I said, it only could get better.
Yeah.
I don't believe in failure.
Right.
I believe in progress.
And if you
Caviar
do
the
fail,
chocolate bar, man.
and if you do fail, just try again. Just try
Just get up.
again.
Hey, let me tell you.
Just
And
try
then I look
again.
at it, and let me tell you something. I still don't look at it as failure. I look at it as a learning
A
experience,
learning
a
experience.
learning curve.
A learning
That's
curve.
all it is. You never fail. You only get you just like a bike. When you started learning how to ride on a bike and you fell, did you really fail or you fell?
You just fell
Ah,
for a moment. You just fell for a moment,
you
but you
just
get up
fell
again.
for a moment. That
That's
you just
right.
got back. The strong person. You don't cry. You just dust the dirt off leg and your arm. You
Yep.
might have got a little cut, but you put that band-aid on and you jump back on that bike and you get them pedaling. And
That's
you
right.
once you pedal, you keep going. You keep
And
going.
I like that idea, the FELL, for a moment. It's not
Right.
a life, it's
F
nothing, it's
A
long
I
term.
L. Nah, nah. You only fell for the moment.
Yes, I
You
like
didn't
that. I'm gonna write that
fail.
down. I
Yeah,
like that.
write that down because that's a good one. That's a good narrative because you only fell for a moment. That's
Yep.
all, and not
Yep.
even a moment, for a second.
A second.
Because if you really, the longer you stay on that ground, the moment come about. But if you get back up, soon as you fell, you won't
Just,
fail
just
no more.
get back up.
Yeah, you dust,
Get back
how
up.
Jay-Z said, dust that dirt off your shirt.
Get up. Get up. Just
Get
get
up,
up.
mash on. And that's one of the things that I did for 2021. I brushed a lot of dirt off my shirt, and that dirt was people that wasn't beneficial for my pro- progression in life.
Yes.
Because
Yep.
I ain't gonna lie, these last 2 years been rough for me. And to get to this point, because this is a vision that I've been trying to bring in my life for a minute. And what happened is I took so many different opportunities that I brought, and to a degree, I put too much on my plate at one time. But I'm the type of person that even when since I did it, I can't just say, okay, I can't stop. I can't keep the radio station going because I already got it up and running. I got, I got to keep that going. And so I'm picking the pieces up to get that better, just like this podcast, and eventually everything will
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 fall
will
in
will,
place.
will fall in place and
Hmm.
connect. And that's what I believe. That's what a that's what makes a chain complete. It's the links.
Yep.
But if the links, once the links turn to connect, 360 degrees is complete. And that's what I believe life is all about. What makes a person complete is spirituality, your physical, and your mental.
And
If you
emotion.
got those three things intact, which is hard, you can make your life complete.
Yep. And I
At
agree.
least as long as we're on this earth. And so, with that closing,
Yep.
I say that because we have to live a positive legacy
Yes.
for baby legacy.
Yes. Yes. Please do. Please do. For all of us.
No,
Please do.
and that's being real. We have to let me look the camera in the eye. We have to live a positive legacy.
Yes. I'm gonna write that
Bring
down.
about a positive legacy for baby legacy. Because baby legacy was snubbed out of his life in only 1 year. Now take that in and let's
Please
make a
do.
change.
Yes.
What you say with that? You
I
think that's a
I
good way to close?
yes. And peace. Just
Peace out.
peace
Yes,
out.
peace out. All
Okay.
right. Everybody, have a blessed night. Yeah. Yeah, that was